Welcome to another episode from our show, Anything Goes. I have done this show for many times. I have not gotten as frequent and as many emails as I got from an episode we aired some weeks ago about pornography. And because of that, and because of many emails I'm trying to summarize for you today, we decided to try to come back and review some thoughts about pornography, our view on it, since it seems there is a lot of people are fighting with it. As usual, I'm always very blessed to have very brave young men with me today who, without preparation, they are willing to speak their heart. I have Kilada, Mina, and Pavli, college and senior high school. Now, guys, Mina, you were the only one who was with us last time. Yes. And I can tell you there is plenty of emails came from the show that you, Mike, Mary, and George have done. Let me read one email and we'll take it from here. Uncle, I am very impressed that you guys were able to discuss this episode about pornography. This is something I have been fighting with for the last 3 years, since I was freshman. Now I'm in college, and unfortunately, I'm still struggling with it. While I agree with everything that you guys have said, I have two other issues that I would like your group to discuss and maybe to tell me your opinion. One, that I think pornography becomes more difficult to fight based on whom you talk to and where you go. And also in the amount of time and the amount of freedom you have with the internet. So let us try to, this email came from San Francisco. I decided not to mention any person by name. So what do you guys think? Any of you?
Well, I would like to say thank you for actually emailing, Uncle, and giving your thoughts on what's happening, because this is a very important issue, and it's an issue that most kids deal with, most teens deal with, even adults deal with it. But that's the thing. Once you start from the beginning, like this emailer has been dealing with it for 3 years, since his freshman year. So like I want to tell people that once you start, it's not just you're going to start and you're going to watch one thing and you're going to give it up. It's not like that. It's that you start and you just keep on going, and it becomes an addiction, and it becomes something of a habit. So it's very, very hard for you to stop this habit. So it's better not to try it, just like they tell you not to smoke, just they tell you not to do drugs, because that one time can get you for life. And it takes a lot to get over that.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but you reminded me with another message we received from a mom, actually. Yeah. And she said basically what you're saying. She said, I would like if you can stress the effect of a warning label. Do not view kind of what we tell our kids about smoking. We should do the same with porn. If you watch it, you will be addicted. And if you are not addicted, you will be haunted by the images for the rest of your life. Most people, she says, do not realize that 1 minute of porn requires hours of confession time and prayers and fasting and metanias to remove from your head. So almost echoing what you said. But I want to come back to the first friend that came from San Francisco and said, and maybe you can weigh in again, or Pavli or Khilada, that the difficulties with fighting porn stems from whom you are with, where you go to, and the freedom or the amount or the lack of supervision, you may say, on the internet time. I mean, yes.
For example, you're in school all the time, and there's girls around you and everything, and in the summer they're all like dressed half naked and stuff. So those are the people you're around the whole time. That's all you're going to be thinking about. Right. And like environment, like if you're going to a party or something, everybody there's dancing and stuff like that. So that's all that's in your head. Girls and.
So you are saying if I go to a party, that there is a lot of dancing and girls half naked, as you said. I would go home and that will excite me to not sleep until I see something, because I have a suppressed feeling, excitement that I want to release.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Because that's all you're thinking about.
Yeah. So what are you trying to say from this?
That since you're always around them and everything, when you go home, that's what you're thinking about. So you're gonna go on the computer and go on the websites and stuff.
So are you trying to give an advice here? Or
Yeah.
could you?
Don't stay away from stuff like parties and stuff where you will be tempted to look at girls or dance with them or something like that. That keep them in your head.
I see.
You know, surround yourself with a different kind of people that are closer to, you know, God more than like school friends.
So change your environment,
Yeah.
change your acquaintances, people who are going to talk to you. Have you seen that website? Have you watched this? Let me email you this. I have seen this picture. Maybe another person will tell you, come to the praises. Let me send you a story I've read, a verse I have seen. Is that what he's saying?
Something like that, yeah.
Also, like, let's not fool ourselves. Like, it's very hard to live as a Christian. It's very hard to live in this world like the way we're brought up to do. You know, we're called to save ourselves for marriage. So, and also, like, we're called to save ourselves for marriage, but don't use that as an excuse to be like, okay, it's good to watch porn, you know? At least I'm not having sex. But that's not it, you know? It's like so many of us use it as an excuse to be like, okay, you know, I'm gonna do this just so I don't have to do this. You know, I'm gonna watch porn just so I can relieve myself and release my hormones. So it's okay. So it's okay what I'm doing.
Let me ask you about that, because I was reading something and I want to see if you guys agree with it. It was read as exactly like this: shame is guilt run out of control. Shame is guilt run out of control. How much post-porn a boy would feel very ashamed, very, I know the word, depressed maybe. You can qualify it as much as you want. What do you think of that?
Like after he watches
Yes.
it, and more in the beginning of you starting, it's like you feel like guilty, or you're like, oh, what did I do? It wasn't right, or you don't know what just happened. So, like, you get used to it. Like if you're smoking or something, you try the first cigarette, you cough, then the second cigarette after that, and after that you start liking it. So after you keep doing it, you're gonna like learn to like it, and you're not gonna be shameful of it. You'll be like, I do that whenever.
One of the things happened after the last episode we did, that we received many emails, and I was reading that one of the bad things about porn is the silence. A boy doesn't want to talk about it, and the more he doesn't talk about it, the more depth he goes into it. But however, when we talk about it, say in a lively discussion, in a very pure type of way, your interest goes down, I guess. Something happened with the emails. In the beginning, they were very excited to receive it. A couple of emails later says, we would like to see more, because immediately after the episode, we were disinterested, less interested in porn. But now we are getting back into it, and that's what motivates us to think about calling you back again for this. So talk to me about the silence of sexual struggle. Like you don't talk about it. It's a taboo. It's hush-hush. Everybody does it, but nobody wants to talk about it. Yes?
I think in the beginning, no one like talks about like when you first start like watching porn, no one wants to talk about it. It's like you think the person next to you is watching it, but you don't want to ask them, or you don't want to talk about it. And then like as you like grow older and you're not ashamed of it anymore, and it's like whatever, you know, everybody does it. I think that it becomes more like of an open topic.
Really? So boys talk to each other about this?
Yeah, like, but they don't talk about it in a good way, like the way we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in our Orthodox community, as Coptic Orthodox, we've always been raised to not ever like speak about sex or porn or, you know, anything like that. So we kind of keep it on like the DL or down low, or we keep it like as, you know, something taboo. Like we don't want to speak about it. We would never speak about it with our parents. We would never tell them we're struggling with this, because God knows that would raise hell, and that would cause so many problems, and they would take you straight to Abuna. They would pray on you, you know, like you're the devil and things. But so like it's in our culture to make it taboo.
But let me take you to a different phase, though.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys may be talking, boys may talk to each other about it, and that almost also takes the shame away, because if he's falling, I'm falling, you know what, who cares? Everybody does it. But what the problem is, if I say something, I'll be condemned. I'll be condemned by parents, church, a role figure or a role model that I idol very much, and the church will despise me. I may not be looked at as the same way. Abuna, I can't go and confess because my father of confession may look down to me. So it goes into a vicious circle of silencing the struggle. You are struggling, you want to get out of it, but the problem is you are worried because if you speak about it, you will be looked down about it. So rather than I say something, I don't say anything, and all of a sudden I'm believing my lies. Like the first lie, I'll be condemned. The second lie, I am the only one who knows about it, so it really doesn't affect anyone else. Talk to me about these two lies. I'm being condemned if anyone knows from the people who I adore. Second, I'm the only one who knows about it, and I'm not hurting anyone.
About you, like you don't want to say anything about it, even if like for you, you go when I was struggling with it, like in the beginning, where I was like really ashamed of it. I go to confession in the retreat, and I wouldn't tell him because I was like, I can't tell Abuna that. He's gonna look at me funny. He's gonna be like, "You do that, really?" And
You think he will say that?
Yeah, but he won't.
Yeah, I
He
know.
won't.
But I mean, that's what, unfortunately, what's going in our minds. I'm not going to tell Abuna because if I tell him, he will look down at me. Maybe he will ask me to read the gospel. Maybe now he will not ask me to read the gospel. Maybe he will not let me to serve this way. I'm wondering if that goes in your head. I mean,
Like actually, from like one of my servants told me, Abuna has heard like far and beyond anything you've ever done. Okay, he's heard people committing adultery. He's heard people, having sex with other partners. He's heard murder. He's heard anything you ever think of. He's heard it. Okay, so don't think you're not normal. Don't think you're different than anybody else. Just get that out of your head. If you have a sin, yes, be shameful because this is wrong. But at the same time, speak about it. That's the problem with our society. We want to change that. We want to be able to talk about it, just so that people don't keep it inside. Because if you keep it inside, that's when it goes on.
So speak about it to who and in what context?
Well, with me, when I struggle with something, I speak about it to first of all, my older servants. Like people like 5 years older than me, people I look up to.
So servants.
Yeah, people
Okay.
like
So
that
like
I've
a
grown up
youth
with.
leader or someone.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I speak about it with them. I ask them, what should I do? They guide me. They tell me what to do. And now I'm doing that. I'm doing that for the
younger
kids that look up to me. I just tell them. I direct them. I tell you, you're not any different than anybody else. But I also direct them to Abuna because at the same time, you can get advice, but at the same time, you still need spiritual guidance.
And you want to say something first? I want to also, I'm sure you don't mean it, but it's very important that you want to talk to a spiritual youth and a spiritual leader, but in the same time, will help you to expose what you are covering, but the word forgiven won't be heard until you sit on that chair in front of that man who is wearing all black. He has a cross in his hand. He happened to be called Abuna. And up till that moment, I could be a leader, I could be a youth servant, you could be a youth servant, you could be helping each other, you talk about it, you talk about the struggles, you open up. But the forgiveness is something, unless you heard it by your own ears, you are forgiven. Go in peace. It's something every single kid, unless he heard it, he will always feel guilty, feel ashamed. And that's what I'm hoping my friends are listening and hearing. My sons here are saying, talk it out. Speak to your youth leader. Speak to your older ones. But then hear the word, you are forgiven. Go to the Father of confession. Repent before you go. Speak to God, the Father. Tell Him, I have blown away the chances of keeping your temple pure. And now I'm coming to you like I should be a hired servant. But you can forgive me. And then, once you hear, you will be hearing, blessed are those who are their sins are forgiven. Such a glamorous word that every single one of us would love to hear. So, don't be alone in your failures, and certainly you do not have to be alone in your healing. Let me repeat that again. You do not have to be alone in your failures. Neither should you be alone in the time of your healing. I promise you, we'll come back to continue our discussion in pornography session 3. Fighting and facing pornography is our duty from CYC to all of our sons and daughters. Until next time, have a blessed time and thank you.